Hey y'all, it's Joefer, the Cranky Old Gay Guy. Today we're diving into a topic that some men whisper about, some guys brag about, and some pretend they're too classy to discuss it. And that's all well and fine, but we're talking about it anyway. Sex after 60. That's right, it still exists. Gay men are still doing it. And yes, there are those of you who are doing it more than 25-year-olds. You know, the young gym bunnies that are perpetually in heat? Well, you're just an older bunny. Sex after 60 is not the same as it was at sex at 20. It just isn't. At 20, you could go 3 rounds, maybe with 3 different guys, take a shower, eat a sandwich, and still have the energy to go out dancing late into the night. At 60, you stand up too fast, and you need a moment to remember why you stood up in the first place. Like, where are my glasses? Where did I put them? I just don't remember. And it turns out that my glasses have been up here all along. I know we've all done that, right? Yeah. So sex exists, but it's just not the same as it used to be. This different kind of sex doesn't mean that it's worse. It just means that it's different. Sometimes different can be a whole lot better though. So, keep that in mind as well. What's still hot about late in life sex? And when I say late in life, I just mean over 60. It doesn't mean that you're ancient, okay? What's good about it? There's plenty good about it. The desire for sex doesn't retire when you do, and the attraction doesn't just evaporate into thin air. When you are a participant in a sexy, hot fantasy life, that sexy, hot fantasy life doesn't have to go away, but it's not fully operational. Your body might function a bit differently now, but the imagination that you had, it still exists. And you're allowed to still participate in that sexy fantasy life. As a senior, your sex life might need a few adjustments, like maybe changing the pace. And your intent, that might be a little different as well. You might be looking for more of a connection with a guy than you did in the past. In your younger years, sex was, let me compare it to an all-you-can-eat buffet. Being less experienced, you might have piled everything on your plate because you didn't know what you liked yet. You tried some fish, maybe a little beef, you just didn't know. But after 60, you are more likely to know exactly what you want in the bedroom and how you want it. You're also more selective about who you're willing to let get anywhere near you or your buffet plate. Now, we have to also tackle the physical realities of aging. Pretending they don't exist isn't going to end well. When you try to reenact something that you saw on an old adult-oriented DVD or film, you might end up hurting yourself. Our bodies change with time, and so do our hormones. Recovery time takes a lot longer, and it's measured in hours and days as opposed to minutes like it was in the past. Now, this is a real thing, and sometimes you need to start the car and let it warm up before you take it to the highway. And yes, that is a euphemism for foreplay. Things just take longer than they used to. Even if you take pills, they take longer. And aging isn't something that anyone thus far has been able to overcome. The fact that your body doesn't perform like it used to, it's not a negative. Wow. I need a speech therapist. It isn't a negative reflection on you. It's biology. And it doesn't care how many push-ups you do or how far you can run or how you look in those skin-tight, tiny, tight running shorts. All of this may sound like a bummer, but let me give you an upside to it all. And that is the intimacy part. It's actually getting better, and it gets better. Your bedroom and fantasy life is more about connecting to your partner than the actual performance of it all. You worry less now about how you look, how you perform, and you start focusing more on how you feel in here. Does being with this person make me happy? Does he make me feel good? Am I making him feel good? In your senior years, it's no longer about chasing the novelty of sex. Why? Because you've already done that. Now you start appreciating the actual depth of the conversation you're having. You can also appreciate the actual depth, but that's something to discuss in a different kind of video. For gay men, especially older gay men, there's this whole new frontier of emotional honesty that opens up. Now, this might sound like some new age or something you've read in a self-help book, and you might even relate it to radical fairies, but it is real. When you're younger, you're trying to impress other guys. You want to make a good impression on that hot stud you've been eyeing, and you might want others to see you with that hot guy. It's a big ego boost. But when you're older, you're not so focused on that. You're trying to enjoy the moment, and that enjoyment is much better as a motivator than your ego was long ago. Now, you might say, Joefer, I used to think XYZ was so hot, but now I just don't feel it. Well, you're not alone. I think we all feel that way at times. Things change over times. It changes over the years. And it's not uncommon for your likes and dislikes to do the same. An example would be the pressure to perform. You might have felt a big thrill in the past when that pressure created this whole power trip of yours. It's like, I'm going to do this and this. And you wanted your partner to see that you're good at the job. Now that pressure to form, I am definitely a senior. Now that pressure to perform isn't a thrill. It's more of a downer, and it's causing you to doubt yourself when you're in the bedroom. So try not to think about that. Another thing you might have difficult or different thoughts about is the expectations associated with sex. The idea that it has to look a certain way, or it has to last a certain amount of time, or it has to involve acrobatic moves. It's just not like that anymore. Over time, that stuff fizzles out, and thank God it does. There was a time when staying up till 2 a.m. and going to a job at 7 a.m. with little or no sleep wasn't a big problem. But not now. Ain't nobody needs to be hanging upside down at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. I mean, some of us, we have to work in the morning. So now that we, as gay men, have aged out of a lot of things that we used to really enjoy, you might ask, well, what is hot at this stage in life? Let me give you a few things that are still hot. Now, this isn't for everybody, but I think that everyone can relate to it. Touch. It can be incredible, it can be sensual, and it just really feels good. Presence. And I know this is something that gets mentioned again in those self-help books over and over. And in any relationship guidebook, you got to be present. But it can be hot. Just being there with someone and them being there with you. I mean, you're really there, not just watching the clock, getting ready to bail when they're done with their ejac. And I think you can figure out what I mean when I say ejac. It can be really hot. Laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. Laughter during sex can be fun, and it can be sexy. But always laughing during sex can also be really weird. So just keep that in mind when you're putting humor in the bedroom. Knowing someone's body because you've actually taken the time to learn it, you studied up on it, way up close. You've touched it, you've caressed it, you've kissed it. You know what areas to work on your partner's body to make them feel pleasure. And that too is very, very hot. And the last one I'm going to leave you with, I'll mention it's confidence. This confidence comes from decades of just you being yourself and living in your own skin Now, that skin might be a little looser than it used to be, but the confidence you now have, it shows up and it more than makes up for that loose, saggy skin. So, like most of you already know, the myth that older gay men aren't sexual is absolute rubbish. Some of the most vibrant, curious, open-minded men I've ever met are older, a lot of them over 60. They've lived the hard times, the good times, and now they're living the now times. They've experienced love. Love? Yeah, they've experienced love, and they've learned from it. Older men aren't adverse to exploration either. The only thing that's changed is the definition of exploring. Sometimes it's a new position, sometimes it's a new toy, and sometimes it's just a different way of talking to each other. Exploration doesn't require physical flexibility, but it does require willingness and curiosity. If you're someone who's not having sex at all right now, good for you. That's normal too. Desire ebbs and flows just like the ocean. Life gets busy, health changes, priorities shift, and none of this makes you less of a man, doesn't make you less gay, or less connected to your own sexuality. It just makes you a human who rolls with the punches. If you're not having the amount of sex you want to be having, be that twice a week, twice a month, or twice a year, or not at all, the important thing to ask yourself is if it feels right for you. Not for your friends, or the apps, or for the guys you might know who swear they're still doing it 5 times a day because they're probably from shite. At the end of the day, sex after 60 isn't about proving anything. It's about enjoying. It's about enjoying what you have, going for what you want, and letting go of everything that doesn't serve you anymore. And if that means your hottest moment of the week is a quick cuddle or a kiss or even a really good nap, I say congratulations, you're doing it right. So after saying all of this, and me rambling on and on and on, I'd like to leave you with one final statement. Regardless of how you have sex or how often you have sex, what feels right for you is what's right for you. Stay cranky, my friends. Stay cranky, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.